pleasant evening and a warm welcome to the national news live on ChannelEye. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
Good evening. I am Lakshit Singh, and to start off tonight's bulletin, we take a look at the headlines.
JICA assistance for social-economic development in Sri Lanka. No fuel shortage in the country, the government states. Prime Minister says the budget 2022 was presented at a decisive juncture amidst many challenges. Samagi Janabalawege engages in a protest against the government. Allegations over another COVID-19 outbreak from this incident. Inoculation of booster vaccines for those who are above the age of 60 from tomorrow. United States to further enhance economic cooperation with Sri Lanka.
Now for those and other stories in detail. The Japan International Cooperation Agency is prepared to support the socio-economic development needs of Sri Lanka, said JICA Director General of South Asia Sakamoto Takema. He made these remarks when he met President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the President's house in Colombo today. President Rajapaksa recalled that when he was the Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development, he was able to successfully implement a number of development projects in collaboration with JICA. Since 1965, the government has obtained Japanese official development assistance amounting to $8,829 million for 120 development projects, and Japanese assistance is provided through various schemes such as yen loans packages, project grant aid, non-project grant aid, feasibility studies and technical cooperation programs. Currently, 14 projects with approximately total value of $2,500 million are being implemented under the JICA loan assistance, mainly under the sector of power, water supply and drainage, ports, transport, health, telecommunication and rural development. Explaining the current progress of the development projects, the President said that he expects the assistance of JICA in the areas of agriculture, skills development, health and irrigation for the coming year. Secretary to the President P.B. Jayasundara, Japanese Ambassador of Sri Lanka Hideki Mizukoshi and JICA representative in Sri Lanka Yamada Tetsuya were also present at the discussion.
Minister Udaya Gammanpila says the reports over an alleged fuel shortage in the country are baseless. The minister made these remarks while taking part in the media briefing held to announce the cabinet decisions today. Minister Udaya Gammanpila said that the media report in this regard was shared based on information received from a retired employee, which is baseless. He said that the government assures that there is no fuel shortage in the country. He added that many countries in the world are faced with fuel crises. He said that the government has assured a continuous fuel supply thus far. He added that in case of a shortage, the public will be cautioned.
දවස් 5ක් රට අඳුරේ තිබ්බ ඩීසල් හිගේ නිසා. ඒ වගේම චීනයේ ප්‍රාන්ත 3ක් සතියක් අඳුරේ තිබුණා බලශක්ති හිගේ නිසා. දැන්ට ප්‍රාන්ත 11ක වැඩ කරන්නේ සතියේ දින 3යි මේ බලශක්ති අර්බුදය නිසා. ඉන්දියාවේ නවදිල්ලි ප්‍රාන්තයේ මහමැති කෙජ්රිවාල් නරේන්ද්‍ර මෝදි අගමැතිතුමාට මෑතකදී ලිපියක් කියලා කියනවා බලශක්ති සැපයුම සහතික නොකළොත් නවදිල්ලියේ අඳුරට යෑම නැවැත්වීමට මට හැකියාවක් නැත කියලා. මේ සමස්ත ලෝකයේම එවැනි අර්බුදයක තිබියදී අපිට ආණ්ඩුවක් විදිහට තවමත් අකණ්ඩ ඉන්ධන සැපයුමක් අපි මේ දක්වාම සාතික කරලා තියෙනවා. එවැනි ඉන්ධන අර්බුදයක් ඇති වෙනවා නම් ඒ පිළිබඳ අපි ජනතාවට කල්තියා අනතුරු අඟවනවා.
Commenting on the Chinese fertilizer consignment, Minister Dallas Alahaperuma said that the Chinese ambassador has issued a clear statement in this regard. Accordingly, the minister said that the ambassador has pointed out that no diplomatic issue will occur from this incident. The minister said the Agriculture Ministry Secretary yesterday made a statement claiming that this issue has occurred following the rejection of the fertilizer from a state institution. He pointed out that several technological issues in this regard and the importance in resolving such issues. He also said that the subject minister has made a clear statement that the relevant consignment will not be accepted into the country. Clarifying a statement made by Minister Basil Rajapaksa, the minister said that the finance minister never meant to say that the state employee is a burden to the country. He said that the finance minister has meant that each government in the past has committed a mistake which has reflected on the country. He added that each government has recruited people into the state sector in favor of votes. Therefore, he said that this issue has affected the state sector immensely.
ඒ පිළිබඳ පැහැදිලි ප්‍රකාශයක් කරානේ. ගන්නෙ නැහැ කියලා. ඒකට නඩු අධිකරණය
එතකොට අපේ ස්වරි භාවයට රටේ ආරක්ෂාවට තර්ජනයක් නේද? වටේ කැරකි කැරකි ඉන්න එක මෙන්නවක්.
නැත්නම් ආයුධ නමක් නෙවෙයි ඉතින් තර්ජනයක් වෙන්න විදියක් නැහැ අසංක. නමුත් මතක තියාගන්න විශේෂ ඇමතිවරයා ඉතාම පැහැදිලි ප්‍රකාශයක් කරලා තියෙනවානේ මේක බාර ගන්න නැහැ කියලා. ඉතින් මම හිතන්නේ ඉතින් එහාට අපි එහෙම බාර ගත්තොත් තමයි ওই සංවාදයට වළංගුභාවයක් හම්බෙන්නේ.
මුදලාමන්ත්‍රීතුමා කියලා තිනවා රජයේ සේවකයන් රජයට බරක් කියලා.
බැසිල් රාජපක්ෂ ඇමතුමා රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා රටට බරක් කියලා කිව්වේ නැහැ. කරුණාකරලා ප්‍රකාශය නැවත බලන්න. එතුමා කිව්වේ දැන් රාජ්‍ය සේවය රටට බරක් කියලා කියන එක නෙමෙයි අදහස් කරේ. අදහස් කරේ දැන් මේ අපි අවිධිමත් සෑම ආණ්ඩුවක්ම මේ රටට කරපු වැරද්දක් තියෙනවා. මොකද්ද ඒ වැරද්ද? අපි දේශපාලන තීන්දුව අරගෙන මනාපය වෙනුවෙන් අපි කිසිදු ඉවබ්බාවක් නැතුව ඒක පාපෝච්චාරණයක් විතර කරන්නට උනේ අපි රාජ්‍ය අංශයන් පුරවලා තියෙනවා. මෙරටේ දේශපාලන සංස්කෘතියේ තියෙන ඉතාම මජර කියලා කියන වචනේ මට පාවිච්චි කරන්න වෙනවා කියන එකක් තමයි ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ආණ්ඩුවට ඇමතුරෙන් ඇමතුරට මේ රැකියාවල් පුරවන්න ගන්න උත්සාහය. ඒ නිසා යම් අර්බුදයකට මුහුණ දීලා තියෙනවා රාජ්‍ය ආයතන. දැන් කෝප් වාර්තාවල් දිහා බැලුවම හැමදාම තමනාසට පේනවා. මෙන්න මේ බර ගැන තමයි මුදල් ඇමතිවරයා සඳහන් කරේ. එතකොට රාජ්‍ය සේවකයා මේ රටට බරක් කියලාවත් රාජ්‍ය සේවය මේ රට උහුල ගන්න බැරි එකක් කියලා කියන එකවත් නෙමෙයි එතුමා අදහස් කරේ.
Co-cabinet spokesman Minister Ramesh Patirana said that the government has taken steps to provide fertilizer required for tea cultivation. Minister Ramesh Patirana said that tea harvest has not reduced this year compared to the previous year. He said that the main reason behind this is the good weather condition prevailed throughout the year. The minister said that in 2020 the total production was at 279 million kilos of tea. He added that this year's total production has exceeded the previous amount. Therefore, measures will be taken to provide relevant nutrients required for tea cultivation, he further added. The minister said that the government has taken decisions to provide relief for the farmers who had been affected from the decisions taken on the health protection of the people in the country. He said that necessary measures have already been taken to purchase required material, including pesticides, to support the farming activities. The government has also taken the decision to provide fertilizer required for tea smallholders in the near future.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the budget 2022 was presented at a decisive juncture amidst many challenges posed in multiple sectors. The main objective of the budget is to normalize the economy, which has been affected by COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister made these remarks while opening the third-day debate on the second reading of the budget. Meanwhile, remarks were shared over the protest organised by Samak Jana Balawega in Colombo today. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the budget 2022 was presented at a decisive juncture amidst many challenges posed in multiple sectors. He said that the objective of the budget is to normalize the economy from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister said that the economy will be normalized rapidly with the measures taken by the government. He said that the government will continuously take measures to initiate the Vistas of Prosperity policy statement amidst the prevailing state financial liability. He said that the government has already given employment for 60,000 unemployed graduates. He also said that job opportunities in state sector have been given for 100,000 persons from low-income earning families. He said that the government bears the expenses worth up to 3.5 billion rupees per month for the salaries of the new recruits. The Prime Minister further pointed out that the government has taken measures to invest on the development of economic, social and infrastructure in the country amidst many challenges. He said that the government had to face up with many challenges on state finances. However, he said that the government expects to normalize the economy in the near future while continuing the infrastructure development activities. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said that the freedom of the people was challenged with the use of police. As the opposition leader inquired whether the people has no freedom to present their issues to him. Minister Sarat Weerasekara said that the opposition, including the opposition leader, should join together with the government to eradicate the prevailing outbreak in the country without intensifying the situation. He said that the duty of the police is to safeguard the law and order. He added that if the health authorities claimed that the outbreak could intensify following public rallies, the police have the responsibility to avert such situations. A bilateral discussion was held between the Coconut Development Authority and the US Embassy to further enhance the US market for coconut-based products from Sri Lanka. The meeting took place at the Coconut Development Authority today. The meeting was held between the chairman of the Coconut Development Authority, Kirti Virasinghe, and economic chief of the US Embassy in Sri Lanka, Philip Loosley. The objective of this meeting is to obtain technological assistance and to add value to coconut-based products, enhance the US market and attract investments for re-export processing zone in Hambantota port.
On behalf of the U.S. government and the U.S. Embassy in Sri Lanka, I'm very pleased to be here and to hear about the development of the industry. Obviously, coconuts are a very important part of the Sri Lankan economy and a growing importance to the United States consumers who very much appreciate some of the best products in the world and consider Sri Lankan coconuts to very much fit into that category. The growth of the coconut market is very important to both of our economies. We are very happy to consider all opportunities to increase trade investment between our two countries. We think the economic ties between Sri Lanka and the United States are one of the most important things to keep this region stable and growing prosperity. There are obvious economic challenges ahead of all of our countries, but especially here in Sri Lanka. President Biden has put out a plan he calls Build Back Better, and as part of that plan, he has emphasized the role of small and medium enterprises, which I know make up a big part of the coconut industry here, and also environmental sustainability and infrastructure, and the role of women as well. Those are kind of the priority areas in the Build Back Better partnership, and we would look forward to working with Sri Lanka on those pillars and how we can support small and medium enterprises, especially those led by women, environmental sustainability, and better infrastructure. And so with that, Chairman, I'm happy to continue this conversation and to look for every opportunity that we can to find ways to mutually benefit the economic growth in both of our countries.
From this industry, we have given a significant support to the economy by giving approximately $1 billion. Mr. Philip, I would like to get your support in order to develop this industry in Sri Lanka. And we are taking this industry to the northeast. What's the importance of these coconut-based products? From a small capital, they can start a good business. That's why next week we are planning to go to Jaffna, set up an office over there, and give many job opportunities by using this industry. I hope to cooperate with you all in order to maintain the good relationship, in order to develop this industry.
A protest organized by Samagi Jana Balawegaya was held in Colombo today. The protest was organized to oppose various issues, including the recent food commodity price hikes and ban on chemical fertilizer. Members of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya who arrived from various parts of the country gathered near the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo and opposition leaders' office. Subsequently, the protesters along with party leaders including opposition leader Sajith Premadasa marched along Dr. Vijayawardena Mawatha to Kolpete. Many protesters were seen violating health protective guidelines during the march. The protesters, while opposing the government, arrived at the Golf-Edge roundabout from Kolpete Junction. Subsequently, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa addressed the gathering. The party members dispersed following the conclusion of the protest. The inoculation of the booster vaccine dose for those who are above the age of 60 under the COVID-19 immunization program will begin from tomorrow. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana said that the first phase of this program will begin from Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Galle, Matara, Hambantota, Anuradhapura and Ampara districts. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasumana said that Sri Lanka currently ranks at 133rd position in the world in terms of number of COVID-19 patients. He said that countries below the list are small island nations. Therefore, he said that Sri Lanka is currently at the forefront in total COVID-19 management. He added that Peru has recorded 5,971 deaths per 1 million in terms of COVID-19 related deaths, which is the global highest. He said that the world average is at 656 deaths a million and Sri Lanka has recorded only 102. Accordingly, he said that the government has been able to control and manage the outbreak in a successful manner. He added that the country has one of the leading vaccination programs in the world as well as in the region. The state minister said that Sri Lanka has already fully vaccinated 62.5% of the population thus far. He said that the United States is below Sri Lanka with the percentage of 58.8% and India with only 26.8%. Therefore, he said that the country is leading on vaccinations in both globally as well as regionally. He said that 1 million students in the age category of 16 to 19 had been inoculated. He said that the inoculation of the third vaccine or the booster vaccine has been initiated with the intention to increase the immunity of the vaccinated persons. The state minister said that following discussions with the presidential task force, the president instructed to proceed with the booster vaccine administration without any delay after considering the research reports. He said that a total of 120,485 frontline workers have been inoculated with the booster vaccine by last evening. Accordingly, he said that the vaccination of the booster dose for those who are above the age of 60 will commence tomorrow. He added that Pfizer vaccine will be utilized as the third vaccine.
සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශ අපිට නිර්දේශයක් ලබා දුන්නා මාස 6ක් වෙනකන් ඉන්න එපා අවුරුදු 60ට වැඩි උදවියේ දෙවනි මාත්‍රාව අරගෙන මාස 3 සම්පූර්ණ කරලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලොන්ටත් හෙට දවසේ ඉඳන් දෙන්න කියලා තුන්වෙනි මාත්‍රාව. ඒ අනුව බස්නාහිර පළාතේ දිස්ත්‍රික්ක 3 දකුණු පළාතේ දිස්ත්‍රික්ක 3 අම්පාර සහ අනුරාධපුර දිස්ත්‍රික්කවල අප ආරම්භ කරනවා හෙට දිනේදී අවුරුදු 60ට වැඩි අයට තුන්වෙනි මාත්‍රාව ලබා දෙන්න. පළවෙනි මාත්‍රාව සහ දෙවෙනි මාත්‍රාව ලබාගෙන තියෙන්නේ කුමන ආකාරයේ එන්නත් වර්ගයක් වුණත් මේ සියලු දෙනාට Pfizer එන්නත ලබා දීම සඳහා අපි කටයුතු යොදනවා.
The Ministry of Education said that the educational activities of grades 6, 7, 8 and 9 in government and government-approved private schools will commence from next Monday adhering to health guidelines. Director General of Health has confirmed 18 COVID-related deaths which had occurred yesterday.
Sri Lankan health authorities approved the US-made antiviral drug for COVID-19, Molnupiravir. Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath said that the Technical Committee on Drugs approved the oral antiviral COVID treatment in Sri Lanka.
There are reports related to the introduction of a new drug for the treatment of COVID-19 patients. We wish to emphasize that it is a regulatory process, clearance process that is going on, and certain steps have been now surpassed, and that is what it is reported at this moment in this media and other things. But complete clearance has not been granted up to now. I just verified it from the relevant authorities, and it will be a continuous process where the manufacturer or their agent or someone has to apply for regulatory clearance and the registration, and then there has to be a proper due process that need to be followed in giving clearance or giving the full registration for the drug, and then the clinical application, and at the ministry probably Director General of Services has to give specific guidelines as to how this drug should be used, and all these procedures need to be followed. So up to now we are still in the process of getting this clearance, and only few steps have been cleared. Therefore, earnest request everyone concerned to refrain from organizing or participating in this type of gatherings for the sake of their loved ones at home and for the sake of general public. And also we would like to say that if there is any significant rise in case numbers in the coming days, the first thing that we might have to do is to close the schools, and we are going to disrupt the education of our children. That will be the first thing that will be happening. So by considering all these factors, we always request the public and also those who are all concerned act in a responsible manner, so that we are not going to go, the country is not going into a further disastrous situation in the coming days.
Director of the National Building Research Organization, RMS Bandara, says that the Kandy-Colombo main road is still being closed due to the risk of landslides. He further added that several investigations relating to the landslides have been carried out in the Kadugannawa area on the Colombo-Kandy main road. He made these remarks at a media briefing held today.
At the November 9, Pahalakaduganawa landslide was occurred and damaging to the upper slope of the Kandy Kalambu road at 98 kilometer post. Just after happening that landslide, we visited, BRO team was taken action to stop both sides and close the road temporarily and visited this landslide, and we understand that this landslide has occurred due to this bad management of water, the surface water as well as the subsurface water. We saw that in the top of the landslide area there were a lot of tension cracks were developed, and same time most of the water coming from the upper slope along the rock escarpment used to go through these tension cracks, and same time flow water, surface water flow all along the surface area. Because of that we realized that with this high water concentration this landslide has occurred, and same time above the soil mass I think we understand that it's a mixture of soil, that is a colluvium layer, depending varying the thickness is about 6 to 7 meters subject to the landslide. We understand that if we can manage this water we can stop this landslide. So because of that we started sealing the tension cracks to get the water out, make temporary drains to water going out of the landslide area. Same time we introduce more than 6 horizontal drains in the top part of the landslide and get the water out. Now I think we have installed 6 horizontal drains. Most of the horizontal drains are full of water coming out. It is about 23 or 25 liters within 1 minute. That is successfully we installed those things. After installing these 2 ways, we realized that landslide movement is little bit slower down. We measured more than 11 points installed in the landslide area, movements points, and we saw that all of these 11 locations saw very less movement in this time. According to these investigations and the results, I think we can think about the opening of the road. We instruct all the authorities not to open the whole road, but they can think to open one track and other thing keep closing, because most of the areas are now people are working on that landslide investigation and that mitigation works. So because of that I think we can close that track. If they are going to open this one lane, they have to think about the strict guidelines with the rainfall happening into the area and this stopping vehicles and going up and down. So there should be a strict guideline followed when they start opening this one.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa instructed ministers and officials today to relocate 12,000 families identified as residents in high-risk zones to safe locations. Meanwhile, the Met Department has indicated that the lower pressure area in the North Andaman Sea area is likely to move west-northwestwards and become a lower pressure area over east, central and adjoining southeast Bay of Bengal during next 48 hours. Accordingly, showers will occur at times in eastern, Sabaragamu, central, northwestern and northern provinces and in Gaul and Mathura districts. The drilling of the hill, which has been cautioned in lower Kaduganav area is currently underway. Accordingly, the water seep into the opening in the hill at the bottom of the railway line will be removed from the drilling process. Road Development Authority and National Building Research Organisation said that the section of the Colombo-Kandy highway in lower Kaduganav area will be closed until the prevailing weather condition and the studies over the situation are completed. Meanwhile, a meeting headed by Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was held today to discuss over the future plans and measures taken thus far to provide compensation and provide relief for the affected persons. It was revealed that a total of 31,475 affected persons have been taken refuge in the residences of their relatives and friends. Measures have been taken to provide financial provisions worth 1 million rupees for 21 districts, each by the government. It was revealed at the meeting that the preliminary compensation distribution was already being completed. Only 3,000 families have been relocated in safe locations, even though 15,000 families have been identified to be residing in high-risk zones. Accordingly, the Prime Minister informed to formulate plans to remove those identified families on priority basis while identifying the risk factor. A decision was reached to resolve the issue pertaining to the acquisition of lands jointly with the relevant ministry. So far, 26 persons have been killed from disaster-related incidents and more than 262,000 have been affected. Attention was directed to provide solutions to reduce the risks faced by districts prone for landslides and floods. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa instructed Minister Johnston Fernando to direct his attention on the possibility to open at least one lane of the Kadugannawa main road for vehicular movement, if not develop the already identified alternative routes. Minister Basil Rajapaksa, Chamal Rajapaksa, Nimal Siripala de Silva, Dallas Alhap Peruma, state ministers and parliamentarians were present at the occasion.
In the meantime, two newly accredited ambassadors and a High Commissioner to Sri Lanka presented their credentials to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the President's house in Colombo this morning. Accordingly, Mr. Podjhanpol presented credentials as Ambassador of Thailand. Mr. Sandile Edwin Schalk presented credentials as High Commissioner of South Africa. And Mr. Hideki Mizukoshi presented credentials as Ambassador of Japan. The new envoys informed the President that they are committed to developing long-term relations between Sri Lanka and their countries in new spheres. President Rajapaksa briefed the new envoys in the steps taken by the government since the outbreak of COVID-19, the progress made with vaccinations and the economic challenges in controlling the COVID-19 pandemic. President Rajapaksa emphasized the need for all nations to work together and support each other in this regard. The envoys commended the President on the progress made by Sri Lanka in controlling the COVID-19 pandemic and in terms of vaccination, explaining how the government intends to conduct economic activities under the new normalization. The President said that opportunities are available for the investors in those countries to invest in Sri Lanka. The President pointed out the measures taken to create a green agriculture by focusing on the use of organic fertilizers and to fulfill a higher percentage of the country's energy needs from renewable energy sources. President Rajapaksa invited the envoys to assist Sri Lanka in providing necessary technology and knowledge for this purpose. Recalling his visits to South Africa as Secretary of Defense, and the President said that he was able to work closely with JICA on the development activities when he was the Secretary to the Ministry of Urban Development. Ambassador of Thailand Podjhanpol and High Commissioner to South Africa Sandile Edwin said that they will contribute to the promotion of trade and agriculture in Sri Lanka. Ambassador of Japan Hideki Mizukoshi stated that steps will be taken to continue to strengthen the 70-year-old diplomatic relations between Japan and Sri Lanka. Regional Cooperation State Minister Tharaka Balasurya, Secretary to the President P.B. Jayasundara, Foreign Secretary Admiral Professor Jayanath Kolambage, Chief of Protocol Tushara Rodrigo, and President's Media Director General Sudeva Hettiarachchi were also present.
Presidential Media Awards ceremony will be held in a more efficient manner to encourage journalists. The objective of this initiative is to appreciate creators under 6 fields of broadcasting, telecasting, print media, websites, school media, and media researchers in all 3 languages. The Presidential Media Awards ceremony will be held next year based on contents of the creators for the year 2021. The relevant cabinet approval in this regard has also been granted. The objective of this initiative is to encourage journalists to maintain their content responsibly, independently, and in a way that the aspirations of the subscribers are met in order to sustain esteemed standards of mass media. The government has directed attention to initiate special tourism promotion programs targeting the upcoming holiday season. The objective of this initiative is to normalize the tourism industry affected from the COVID-19 outbreak and to attract tourists. All stakeholders in the tourism industry, including airlines, will work jointly in this initiative. The tourism promotion programs will be implemented targeting UK, Germany, France and India. Accordingly, Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval for the proposal presented by the Minister of Tourism. Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval to register Sri Lanka cinema as an industry. The aim of this initiative is for the development of the industry and to seek international recognition in this regard. The relevant proposal was presented as a joint proposal by Prime Minister and the Minister of Industries. The cinema industry in the country has been restricted to a smaller domestic market since it has not been recognized legally.
The Nelumgama Organics Recycling Centre in Gallelapolo, Narua is in the process of being modernized at present. Financial provisions worth 67 million rupees have been allocated for the project. The modernisation process was commenced recently with the participation of State Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. Accordingly, 20 tonnes of waste will be recycled daily at the centre. Steps have been taken to increase the production capacity up to 50 tonnes. New machinery will be provided for under the new project. This is a plantains cultivation in Ambilipiti area which has been successfully carried out for 18 years with the use of organic fertilizer. The cultivation comprises over 15 acres of land and various types of plantains can be found at this farmland. The farmers have indicated that there is a higher demand for toxic-free food. Following the government's efforts to promote organic farming, many people are involved in the organic fertilizer production. Reports have indicated that a farmer in Diulankadavala Madirigiriya has obtained a quality certificate for his organic fertilizer production. In sports news, Sri Lanka women's cricket team left for Zimbabwe this morning to take part in the qualifying rounds of the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup. Sri Lankan team will be led by Chamari Atapattu. 9 countries, including Sri Lanka, will take part in the qualifying round of the championship. Sri Lankan cricketers took part in 3 pre-tournament training sessions recently. Former Test cricket captain Hashan Tilakaratne has been appointed as the head coach of the team. Sri Lanka will compete in Group A in the qualifying round against West Indies, Ireland, Netherlands and Papua New Guinea. However, Papua New Guinea team has been taken out of the tournament after detecting COVID-19 infections in the squad. And that's all the stories for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Until then, stay safe and good night.
Good night.